Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining for this media briefing, which will update you on the events leading up to and on Independence Day. We will be addressed by the Minister of Innovation, Science and Smart Technology, Senator the Honorable Kay McConney, Cabinet Secretary Mr. Hewlin Allman, the Chief of Staff of the Barbados Defence Force, Commodore Errington Sherland, and the Chief Executive Officer of the National Cultural Foundation, Ms. Carol Roberts-Reefer. Senator McConney will begin.
Thank you. Good evening, Barbados. With anticipation, November 30th is coming, and on this, our 55th anniversary of independence, Barbados will be transitioning to republic status. This is certainly an exciting time in the national history of Barbados. And people have asked, why a republic? And the simplest way I can put it is to say that we are completing what we started. We are completing the journey of independence. And this completion of the journey leads us to become a state with a Barbadian as our head of state. And it also brings us to become a state with a Barbadian, not only as our head, but where our people have demonstrated the confidence to govern the affairs of our state, still as part of the British Commonwealth, but without the need for the British monarch to sit as our head. November 30th will still be known as Independence Day. And Barbados will still be known as Barbados. Not the Republic of Barbados, not Barbados the Republic. We will simply be known as Barbados. Now, the Houses of Parliament, both the House of Assembly and the Senate, have designated our first Barbadian head of state in the person of Her Excellency Dame Sandra Mason. Her Excellency, on the day appointed, will be called President and will function very similar to how Her Excellency now functions as a Governor General, with the main difference being that she will be assuming the role of President as a bona fide Barbadian head of state, not acting on behalf of Her Majesty the Queen. Now, we have so much to be proud of Barbados, and we have so much more to look forward to at this mature age, nearly 55 years independence. And as we celebrate this occasion, there will be dignitaries from around the world who will celebrate with us. And our Cabinet Secretary will speak to that in a little while. Coming to celebrate with us as well will be His Royal Highness Prince Wales. Now, the purpose of this briefing is for us to share with you the program of official activities that will be planned leading up to November 30th, as well as on the day of November 30th and beyond. You may already have seen some of the decorations that are going up across the island as we prepare to celebrate Barbados. Among the activities that will be a part of the celebration, there will be activities that will be conducted safely in safe zones. There will be activities that will be inclusive, where all of Barbados will see pieces of itself, and we can all identify with the celebrations that will be ongoing. And there will be activities, it will be a celebration that will not only be safe and inclusive, but will also provide opportunities for all of Barbados to participate in various ways. Now, leading up to November 30th, there will be several official events. Among those events, from November 23rd to the 24th, there will be parliamentary debates on the Barbados Charter. As we know, the Barbados Charter is that document that through consultation we have set to help us to be able to chart a way forward as we debate and discuss the Constitution of the Republic in the year to come. On November 24th, The U.S. diaspora, there will be a town hall meeting that will be coordinated by the Barbados Embassy in Washington. On November 25th at 10 a.m., we will have the launch of a special commemorative rum by Mount Gay Distillery in St. Lucie. On November 25th, from 6 to 8 p.m., there will be a conversation with Future Barbados, focusing on the Citizen Charter, Future of Work. On November 26th, 10:30 a.m., we will have the launch of the CAIPO digitization project as Barbados moves towards transformation and seek to facilitate business and make it easier to do business with Barbados. The official opening of Golden Square will take place on Saturday, November the 27th, and that will be in the afternoon from 4:30 to 6:30. This is an event that will be the culmination of events in Bridgetown throughout the day on Saturday, November the 27th, and we will have that again as a safe zone event. There will be limited number of persons, only 145 persons maximum, and that event will be live streamed so that those who are unable for reasons of safety to be able to be there live can indeed watch this virtually and live. The National Service of Thanksgiving. We have always been a faith-based community, and we intend to continue to let the faiths, the various and diverse faiths of Barbados, be a part of this celebration. And so the National Service of Thanksgiving will take place on Sunday, November 28th at 10 a.m. That ceremony, that service, that Thanksgiving service, will be about an hour and a half, and it will be held at the Garfield Sobers Complex. It will again be live streamed so that all Barbadians who wish to be able to see it and cannot be there live will also be able to participate. It is on that occasion too that the exciting consecration of the new military colors for our military will be a part of that experience of our service of Thanksgiving, the consecration of those colors. And later you will hear some of the activities from the Commodore, who is the Chief of Staff, who will be of the Barbados Defense Force, who will be able to share some of those military-related activities that will be a part of the celebration. Included among them will be the naval event, the flotilla, that will take place on Sunday, November 28th at 2 p.m. Additionally, we will have the arrival of His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales. The Cabinet Secretary will share a little bit more about that later. We will have the ceremony for the installation of the President of Barbados, and that will take place on Monday, November 29th, starting at 11 p.m. in the evening. That ceremony will include the declaration of Barbados as a republic, the inauguration of the President of Barbados, the conferring of honors of the freedom of Barbados on both the President and His Royal Highness, addresses by the President and His Royal Highness, Prince Charles, and the oath of allegiance, the swearing in of the Prime Minister and the Attorney General will take place on that auspicious occasion. There will also be the National Awards Ceremony. Barbados has become accustomed to our honors and decorations, National Honors Awards Ceremony on Independence Day, on and around Independence Day. Again, we will have that on November 30th, and this will take place at Golden Square at 10 a.m. It will be presided over by the President, and that is the occasion on which the oath of allegiance, the swearing in of cabinet ministers, will take place. On that occasion, of course, will be the presentation of honors and the Prime Minister's address to the country. In addition, there will be diplomatic receptions, and then, of course, the formalities related to the departure of His Royal Highness. Of course, Barbados would not be celebrating this time without the cultural events, and we have Miss Carol Roberts Reefer, who will share with you the rich cultural experience that will be a part of this celebration. Barbados, we are encouraging all of you to put on your Barbados colors. The Barbados colors will remain the same: blue, aquamarine blue, gold, and black. And even if you do nothing more than put these clothes on, wear your national colors, and sit in your gallery or on your front step, we want you to be celebrating Barbados. We want businesses and households. We want you to decorate your place in those colors. We really and truly want you to participate and truly celebrate the spirit of this historic time and celebrate ourselves for this major step we're taking as a country. And it is with that that I turn over to Lisa as we move forward with the rest of the program.
Thank you very much, Minister. We now go to the Cabinet Secretary.
Good afternoon. It is my pleasure to indicate that not only will Barbadans be celebrating the independence and the move towards the transition towards Republican status, but quite a few countries and representatives of countries, even heads of state and governments, have indicated their desire to attend this very auspicious occasion. It's a historical occasion for us, and Barbados, with its reputation, a lot of our international friends are seeking to share in that occasion. We've had quite a few requests for invitations, basically, but invitations have also been extended to all CARICOM heads of government and state, and quite a few of them have already indicated that they will be attending. Invitations have also been extended to the heads of government of Liberia and Ghana, and in the instance that they're not able to attend, they have been requested to send messages to Barbados. The diplomatic community, it is a norm every year for the diplomatic community to celebrate with Barbados, whether they're resident or non-resident. And as such, the local diplomatic resident community will also be participating in this. And this, of course, speaks to the heads of mission here in Barbados, heads of international organizations, elements of the Honorary Consular Corps, and of course the non-resident ambassadors who might be resident in anywhere from Havana to Trinidad and Tobago or further afield as far as Sweden. So quite a large number of the international community will be in Barbados to celebrate with us. And as the Minister said, no less person than His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales. He has agreed to attend and to share on this occasion with Barbados. I think it's a good indication of the relationship that exists not only between the countries but between His Royal Highness and our head of government, basically, where he himself has indicated his desire to attend. And again, as the Minister said, he will be arriving on the morning of the 29th of November, and he will participate in a number of activities where that is concerned. On his arrival, the Prince of Wales is representing essentially Her Majesty the Queen, and as such he will be accorded full military royal honors, and I'm sure that the Commodore, the Chief of Staff, can speak to that, the actual mechanisms of that. But on that occasion, full military honors will be extended to him, and they will be the appropriate party that will welcome His Royal Highness also. So essentially, Barbadians will have the opportunity not only to celebrate but also to have international guests who will celebrate with us, and we actually look forward to this. It means that Barbadians, the hospitality of Barbadians will be extended internationally. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Allman. Ms. Roberts-Reefer will now speak to the cultural activities.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Minister. As we celebrate this historic transition and, of course, our 55th anniversary of independence, we do so with the flair and creative expression and vibrancy of our culture and heritage. And at the NCF, we started coordination of a number of projects to do just this from the beginning of November. Of course, we also produced our annual National Independence Festival of Creative Arts, which this year is largely an online expression of our creativity and culture, and that started on November 1st. But in celebration, as I said, of the 55th anniversary of independence and our transitioning to a parliamentary republic, we also embarked on the Independence Parish Mural Project. As part of NIFCA, we are installing 4 murals in each of the towns in Barbados: Old Town, Speightstown, Oistins, and Bridgetown. And that project has already started, and it is anticipated that all of the murals will be completed by the 25th of November. And just to give you some locations, so in Bridgetown, it is going to be the fence in front of the Fisheries Department in Bridgetown. In St. James, it's going to be opposite the fence at the Trents Community Center. And the artist for that is Shane Eastman. The artist for Bridgetown, is Shane Eastman. The artist for Old Town is Sherry Nichols. In Oistins, the mural will be installed on the main road, which is diagonally opposite Granny's Restaurant in Oistins, and the artist is Kevin Hall. And the 4th mural will be installed on the grounds of the Speightstown playing field in St. Peter, and the artist for that project is Carlisle Trotman. Added to that, we also have murals in the parishes across the island, and that project commenced last week, and it is also anticipated that all of the murals will be completed by the end of next week. And so we have murals at the St. Lucy's Parish Church for the parish of St. Lucy, at the Hillaby Turners Hall Primary School in St. Andrew, in St. John at the St. John Post Office, in St. Joseph at Andrew's Factory, in St. Thomas near the mini roundabout in Jackson, in St. George in the Glebe, in St. Philip on the Princess Margaret School wall, and in St. Michael at the Israel Lovell Foundation building. And so that's our Independence and NIFCA mural project. We also decided to take 12 songs that celebrate and or highlight aspects of Barbadian reality and remix them. And we deliberately chose arrangers, several of whom are young and were for the first time hearing the songs, and in some instances really paying attention to their content. And so we have 12 remixes of Bajan nation-building songs. 8 of them have been completed as I speak with you. The remainder will be completed within the next 36 hours, allowing us to be able to launch them on Saturday. And I really hope that radio stations across the island, Barbadians wherever you are, you find 1, 2, several, or all of the songs that you love and just play them as loudly and as lustily as possible. And we're particularly pleased with this project and how it has turned out, because the new arrangements also showcase the creativity and the innovation of our artists and music producers. Then there's something for the children, My Barbados, Our Future. As we make this historic transition, it's not only for those of us who remember independence, those of us who are adults, but it's also for the children. And so we're asking them, what kind of Barbados do you want for for yourself and future generations. And we're doing that via an online competition where children between the ages of 7 and 12 have a chance to say what Barbados means to them and the kind of country they want to see in the future. So we're asking them to submit an essay. Just put your words down. And also a video of themselves reading the essay. They're going to submit it. We'll assemble a small panel of judges, and every person participating, every child participating will receive a certificate of participation. And the top 55 because it's our 55th anniversary, the top 55 entries will each receive a tablet to help them with schoolwork, to help them with their reading, to help them pass the time positively before or after school. And then for the households and the families, we've got a decorate and win competition. We're encouraging all Barbadians, and lots of you have started already, to decorate your homes inside or outside for independence. We have teamed up with the Starcom network, and the Road Runner will be taken to the streets next week and visiting your homes after you've posted again online photographs of your decorations, and the top 5 winners and then the 5 runners-up will all receive cash prizes. Then we move on now to our Roundabout Project and Community Decorating Project. I'll start with the community decorating. In 30 communities across the island, we have teamed up with either decorators who are from that parish or from that constituency, and they have selected areas in the community, highly trafficked areas, and they have decorated it. In instances where there were no decorators in the particular constituency or community, then we've teamed up a local coordinator with a decorator, a professional decorator, and together they have come up with the themes and they're going to be installing the decorations. A number of them have already been completed, and the remainder will be completed by the end of this weekend. So if you're traveling along Map Hill in St. Michael, if you are traveling near Bonnets, I can remember those two for sure. Their decorations are already up. Bushall Yard Gap, that will also be up very soon. And by Sunday morning, all across Barbados, there will be the communities that are beautifully decorated by the communities largely themselves. Then we come to the Roundabout Project. And a lot of these projects have been designed by the NCF to be able to offer opportunities for creatives in the sector who would have been adversely affected with the advent of COVID and the series of shutdowns, the cancellation of festivals and events, an opportunity to also earn a living. And so with the Roundabout Project, we teamed with some band leaders, some masquerade designers, and also some young professional designers to decorate the roundabouts. There are 13 roundabouts that we've selected. From the roundabout at 6 Roads in St. Philip all the way down to the roundabout by the St. Lucy's Parish Church. And each of the roundabouts have been decorated based on a theme that can be linked to Barbados' history from 1625 to 2021. So the roundabout dedicated to the 1625 theme pays tribute to the First Peoples, and the roundabout that looks at 2021 and beyond is the roundabout that's dedicated to innovation and transformation. In between those two historical eras, we have roundabouts dedicated to the flora and fauna of the country, to the breadbasket parishes, to education, to our multiple faiths, and then there's a special roundabout that's dedicated to the frontline workers and caregivers who have done us so proud and given yeoman service in the fight against COVID. We've also produced a series of 6 posters. We feel strongly that for this occasion, yes, we're going to decorate the communities and we're going to decorate the roundabouts, but suppose you want something to put up in your home to say, yes, this is my country to me. And that's the name of the project, My Country to Me. It's a series of 6 posters, again, working with 6 graphic artists who were sidelined or slightly or severely, depending on their circumstances, affected because of COVID. And they came up with designs themed My Country to Me. We have printed 6,000 of these posters. They're being distributed across the island. Several local businesses and distributors have come on board with us, and as their merchandisers go out into the trade, they are going to be offering the posters to shops and outlets and salons across the island. And of course, you can also come to the NCF and collect your posters. Then, a couple of months ago in September, we teamed up with the Royal Barbados Police Force Band, who normally would have had crop over in the city, but this year they didn't. And we teamed up, and what started off as a small project turned into 3 police band concerts that can easily be dubbed as tracing our musical history, the songs that have become the soundtrack of our lives. So whether it is gospel, or classical, or spooge, or calypso, or soca, or folk, whether the artists are veterans and iconic, whether they are up and coming, whether they're established, or whether they are our junior calypsonians, they're all involved in this project. And when we were finished with the content, we had enough not for 1 or 2, but 3 concerts. And so we're calling it a weekend with the police, with the Royal Barbados Police Force Band. And that's a series of 3 virtual concerts that will start this weekend. We're also involved in the major event on November 29th, the Declaration of Barbados as a Republic, and the installation of the President will occur between the hours of 11, midnight, and beyond. But before that, we are going to have a massive celebration of Barbados and all that we stand for, and the very best of the Barbadian personality. And this will take the form of a series of both live-streamed and pre-recorded events. So whether it is the debut of our fabulous National Community Steel Orchestra, which is a project that we began work on in March of this year. We had to make several amendments because of COVID, so we had groups of 25 young community steel pan players practicing all across the island, and thanks very much to the secondary schools who allowed us to use their premises. And now they're coming together. There are going to be some 150 strong. We have pans that are branded in the national colors, and that National Community Steel Orchestra will perform for you on the evening of the 29th. We've also assembled a Tuk orchestra under the direction of Wayne Punkal Willock. We will have a tribute to the Barbados landship, one of the most, if not the most, enduring symbol of our intangible cultural heritage, and that's being produced by the Pinelands Creative Workshop. We have put together the band that I'm calling the Republic Band, that's being directed by Nicholas Branker, and that will be augmented with drums and strings. We have a dance corps that's being coordinated by Kelvin Carvalho, and we have a mass choir that's being coordinated by Ryan Boyce. They will all come together along with a who's who list of artists, again across all genres, and we will be putting together a cultural presentation that will start at approximately 9 o'clock and move seamlessly right up until we're ready for the ceremonial aspect of the night's proceedings. And all of this will be live streamed. The best seat in the house on that night is wherever you are, comfortably, wearing your aquamarine and gold and enjoying all of this splendor. It really will be a night to be absolutely proud to be Barbadian. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Roberts-Reefer. Commodore Sherlin now will give further insight into some of the events.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Good evening, Minister. Good evening, Barbados. Let me just follow on from where Carol just left off, because the pomp and pageantry that is normally associated with the military ceremonial in Barbados will be fused with the cultural extravaganza that commences around 8 o'clock on the night of the 29th. The military ceremonial will commence at around 10 minutes past 11 with the arrival of the various dignitaries that would normally obtain on Independence Day parade, which will include the Chief Justice, the Prime Minister, the national hero, the only living national hero that we have in Barbados, Right Excellent Sir Garfield Sobers, and His Royal Highness Prince Charles, the Prince of Wales. His Royal Highness will be accorded a royal salute and a march past and a final salute as a signal of our departure from the monarchy. That will be followed by the marching off of the old color, which will be replaced by a new color. As a consequence of Barbados becoming a republic, the old colors that would have represented or bond and our allegiance and our ties to Her Majesty the Queen will be replaced by new colors. And those new colors will be consecrated at the National Service on Thanksgiving on the 28th. Those colors will be the presidential color, the Barbados Regiment color, and the ensign of the Barbados Coast Guard. So that actual blessing of those colors will take place as part of the National Service of Thanksgiving. After we've paid the final salute to the monarchy, we anticipate the arrival of the President-elect, which will be heralded with a fanfare and some cultural as well as military ceremonial. I will not go into that in detail, but I certainly hope that all Barbadians take the opportunity to view it from the comfort of their homes and appreciate the military pomp and pageantry that will be surrounding that particular event. Also included in that parade will be an address by His Royal Highness, after which he will be conferred with an honorary Order of Freedom of Barbados, and then an address by the President-elect, who will be installed then as President in her first speech to Barbados. The usual march past will be and salute will be accorded to the President. And given the COVID-19 environment, we will still try and maintain all the units that we will normally have on parade, but in a much smaller representation. All the flags and banners from the unarmed units will be there. Of course, we will have the Barbados Defence Force, the Royal Barbados Police Force, the Girl Guides, the Scouts. The only unit that I am advised that is not able to participate this year would be the Church Lads Brigade. But recognizing the kind of contribution that the nurses would have made, I think it is very, very important that we have them as part of the parade. So Barbadians, you can expect that pomp, you can expect that pageantry as part of the, not only Barbados becoming a republic, but that fusion between military ceremonial and the cultural component. And it would all conclude with a fireworks display prior to the departure of all the dignitaries in the descending order of precedence, starting with the newly installed President of Barbados. The other activity that I would wish to inform Barbadians about is a flotilla, as the Honorable Minister would have mentioned. That event is going to occur on the 20th of November, starting at 3 o'clock. And we are calling that event Blue Barbados, We Salute You, Culture by the Sea. And that is going to include from jet ski to fishing boat to pleasure craft to the motor vessel schooner. And we are hoping to get one of the tugs from the Barbados port, as well as participation by the Barbados Coast Guard and the Royal Barbados Police Force. And that flotilla will sail from the shallow water berth right up to Carlisle Bay, and ending in Carlisle Bay with a sail pass. We are hoping that the Governor General and the Prime Minister will be part of that particular maritime spectacle. It will also include a cultural component, and I won't share too much about that, but suffice it to say that it is my understanding that the Mighty Gabby will be part of that event. But again, Barbadians, I urge you to, and it will be televised live, and I urge you to take the opportunity to view that particular activity, because then you will see the kind of contribution from a maritime perspective that comes to Barbados. So Lisa, that is but a snapshot of not only the military ceremonial but the maritime component of the activities that we've got planned to mark Barbados becoming a republic.
Thank you very much, Commodore. Well, as we open for questions, as customary, I would ask members of the media to identify themselves and the media house they represent. Are there any questions?
Question, Barry Allen, could there one question to the Minister, Senator McConnell?
Go ahead, Barry.
Senator, there's been some significant level of public discourse prior to the revelation of these events. There has been some public discourse where some Barbadians believe there were plenty short that would have led to us reaching this transition, and they believe there was a lack of public involvement. Some people use the words referendum, some people use forums such as town hall meetings, but many still feel that government may have come up short before this transition. Do you think that this set of events can appease the palate of those who thought that we would have come up short?
Thank you very much. I trust we will not see this as an appeasement, but a celebration of us coming of age as a country. The conversation regarding Barbados becoming a republic did not just begin. We have several reports, we have several commissions, we have had significant consultation with the public. Of course, there could be more. Of course, there is opportunity for us always to talk some more, share some more, consult some more. I think, however, that we have been having this conversation for more than 30 years now. And it is important that we move from having the conversation to taking action in the interest of a country that we know is ready to make the transition to a republic. So in short, I hope this would not be seen as an appeasement, but I trust that we will move past those concerns that we have, be able to accept that we could always do more in terms of communication, but that we will now transition and make that shift to a celebration of the future that is waiting for us.
Barry, did you have a follow-up?
Well, thank you, Senator.
Okay. Are there any further questions?
Yes, Trevor Thorpe, CBC. How are you going, people who want to be part of such an event, how are you going to control numbers? Or there's somebody taking numbers down to get it into manageable levels, because Barbadians will want to be part of this event on November 29th.
I am going to let the Commodore take that question, but before he does, I simply want to say that we have done everything to make sure that some people will be able to see it live. Some people will also be able to see it by live stream. We have used the technology, we have leveraged the technology to ensure that the experience is going to be absolutely wonderful for those who are part of that live stream, watching from the comfort of their homes, hopefully dressed in their national colors and celebrating in the way that we have all learned to celebrate and enjoy cultural experiences, even since COVID has been an impediment to us being able to go out there and socialize. And I will ask the Commodore to continue the response to the answer in terms of how we're going to manage the situation with the public.
Thank you very much, Minister, and thank you for that question, Trevor. The reality is that COVID is here, and COVID is here to stay. And we have a duty of care to ensure that all events that we plan and execute are conducted in as safe a manner as possible. And as the Minister would have highlighted, all the events that are being conducted in consultation with the Ministry of Health and in consultation with the COVID monitoring unit in particular. And while we would dearly love for as many Barbadians as possible to be part of that particular activity. It just is not possible. And the numbers that we've been, I would say, constrained to have been so advised by the Ministry of Health. And in saying that, I wish to reiterate the position of the minister, which is that to encourage all Barbadians to do so by remaining in their homes and taking in the live stream. All the events will be live streamed. And if we want Barbadians to be safe, and I believe that safety is the bottom line in this particular situation. Because as I said, COVID will remain with us. It's not going to go away on the 29th.
And I do believe that Ms. Roberts-Reefer wanted to make a point.
Yes, thank you very much, Lisa. Just to echo again what Commodore Sherland is saying, all of the national events will be streamed. So as I said earlier, the best seat in the house is wherever you are. We will also be putting up screens at various points across the country. We'll be giving you those locations as the communications and PR continues for these events in the coming days, so that members of communities can gather safely and also view the events. It's been a tough 2 years, and we all want to get back to some semblance of what we remember as the reality, but the fact is that we can only do so with a lot of constraint and observance of the health protocols. And so as we roll out these events, we will also be at every opportunity reminding Barbadians, and we only need to remind ourselves because we generally know how to behave at events and on occasions such as this, just reminding ourselves to follow what has now become a way of life: the physical and social distancing, the wearing of masks in public places, the constant sanitization, and washing of hands. And together we can do this. We figuratively hold each other's hands and get through this massive period of celebration safely. I would also want to say that all of our activities, even though you don't see him here this evening, have been vetted by, discussed with, consulted with the Ministry of Health, and of course the Chief Medical Officer and his team. And so the implementation of the events follow the guidelines as set by the Ministry of Health. So with that platform, all that remains now is for all of us, whether involved in the events, cast, crew, production, or members of the public who are either invited to the events or are going to go to any of the spaces to watch and witness the events, to just follow the protocols for the safety of Barbados.
Next question.
I have one question.
Go ahead.
Question for Senator McConnell. Right, from Barbados today. Senator McConnell, you spoke about activities being held in safe zones. Could you elaborate a bit on that? And are you suggesting that vaccinated Barbadians will not be able to take part in some of the activities leading up to the celebrations?
There is a definition of safe zones that it has been approved by the Ministry of Health and has indeed been vetted, where, yes, as the activities come up, you will hear about safe zones and you will hear what are the specific protocols associated with that, whether it would be vaccinations that would be required, whether it would be testing that would be required, and how indeed they will be managed. The Ministry of Health and the Chief Medical Officer will, at the appropriate time, be able to speak to this. In fact, I think I see him entering the room at this time, and if you don't mind, I would like to ask the Chief Medical Officer to speak to the safe zone situation.
And we'll just let Dr. George take a few seconds to get into position to answer that question for you. That would be Dr. Kenneth George, the Chief Medical Officer, who would respond.
Thank you. So The Ministry of Health's responsibility is to, wherever possible, try to keep the public of Barbados safe. As you know, we are in a COVID environment, and therefore there should be no mass gatherings of persons at any of these events. Many of the events are for invited guests, and those specially invited guests will be required to either be vaccinated. If they are not vaccinated, they will be required to have a rapid antigen test within 24 to 36 hours of attendance of a function. Persons on the periphery of these events who still want to be involved in the celebrations are asked to comply with the basic protocols which we have told Barbadians for long periods. There will be areas for hand sanitization. I understand we will be able to distribute masks at many of these events. There will be temperature checks. So therefore, for most persons, I would say, in a COVID environment, stay in the privacy of your home and enjoy the celebrations. For the few persons who venture out, please be mindful that when in public spaces, you must at all times follow our basic protocols. For specially invited guests, there will be requirements for vaccination or a test 24 to up to 36 hours prior to attending the event. Our COVID monitoring unit will be in full force at all the events, and we will be relying on volunteers and the Royal Barbados Police Force to complement our efforts. Thank you so much.
Are there any further questions?
Yes, just one question and a quick follow-up, Lisa. Question for Senator McConney. National Service of Thanksgiving, and that will be held at a facility, I think you said, the Lord First Center. Can you tell me what is the cap for people who will be allowed to attend that event? You mentioned 145 for Bridgetown, but I don't think you mentioned an amount that will be allowed within the facility for the service of Thanksgiving. Can you indicate how much?
Thank you very much for the question. The National Service of Thanksgiving will take place at the Garfield Sobers complex, the gymnasium. Yes, at that complex. I do not immediately have the information regarding the numbers, but I am sure that in the future we will be able to confirm that number and communicate it to the public as necessary.
Thank you. And the follow-up question is to the Secretary, Mr. Allman. Can you indicate how many CARICOM heads have actually confirmed that there would be this? Some have been invited, but I'm not sure if you said how many have actually already confirmed their presence or their expected presence.
Thank you. To date, we've had approximately 7 heads of government that have accepted the invitation to attend, and we anticipate that we might have a few more. So right now, around 7. There is one thing that I would wish to reiterate, and I think the CMO, the Chief Medical Officer, has also said that the protocols that are in place, the health protocols, extend to everyone who enters or specially invited guests. And when I say our specially invited guests, I mean everyone, whether it's a head of state or head of government. They're also will be in compliance with the COVID regulations with respect to vaccinations or rapid tests.
Mr. Allman, can you give us those 7 CARICOM countries who have accepted the invitation?
Well, at this time, I'm not privy to all of them, and I wouldn't wish to, to venture into guesswork, but basically some of them have indicated. I have gotten numbers of about 7, but when that becomes available, I'm sure we will share it with the press.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions? Okay. If there are no further questions, Minister Makani, I'll give you the final word.
Thank you, Lisa. I simply wish to say to Barbados, we are looking forward to this celebration. Let us do so safely. Let us do so in a way that not only speaks to your heart for Barbados, but speaks to the spirit you have for each other as we move forward as a republic. Thank you so much to the press and to my colleagues. Have a very pleasant evening.
Very much. That's the Minister of Innovation, Science and Smart Technology, Senator the Honourable Kay McConney. We heard from the Cabinet Secretary, Mr. Hewlin Allman, the Chief of Staff of the Barbados Defence Force, Commodore Errington Sherland. We heard from the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Kenneth George, and the Chief Executive Officer of the National Cultural Foundation, Ms. Carol Roberts Reefer. As always, thank you, members of the media, and you for joining. Good evening.